Hello, everyone. I know it's past 4 p.m. and everyone just got a big lunch, but hopefully you got caffeinated. You can stay up for another 15 minutes or so before the break. This talk is going to be a novice level talk. I'm mainly going to be talking about migrating my project Slope Ninja to Zeit. I'm Julia. Hi. You can find me on Twitter at that handle. I'm a software engineer. Okay, raise your hand if you're a skier or you snowboard. Wow, quite a few of you. I'm surprised. Nice. I love snowboarding. In the past year, I've been working on this project called Slope Ninja. It's a project that for snowboarders and skiers to get real-time snow and road data for ski resorts in Lake Tahoe area. In this talk, it's going to be about deploying it to production. But before we start, let me tell you a short story. So 2 years ago, I was a technical recruiter, and no, I did not know how to code, let alone building a full-stack application. And if you ever receive one of those cringy recruiting emails from me, I apologize. It was a bit tired of not hearing back from my candidates, though, so I had to somehow come up with a way to stand out from the crowd. The idea was, what if I sent my candidates programming puzzles in JavaScript or Python? Maybe that would get them to hit the reply button? It was just an experiment. And my coding journey started with me sending candidates emails in code, with full of bugs, of course, bugs so small that they couldn't resist the urge to fix. If you're interested, I wrote about why I quit my job and got into software engineering, which received quite a few clicks on Medium. The link is pinned to my Twitter. And here I was, learning how to code one email at a time. I made a lot of mistakes, like a lot of them. But it has been a challenging yet rewarding process. Today, I'm a software engineer building full-stack applications, and I love my job. Now, let's talk about Slope Ninja. Again, Slope Ninja is a web and mobile application for skiers and snowboarders to get snow and road data for ski resorts in Lake Tahoe area. The best way to learn how to code is to build something useful. Tackling real-life problems is different than solving coding exercises, and much more fun. Slope Ninja solves a real problem for me, and it's a sandbox where I do my coding exercise. And of course, all the code is open source on GitHub. And here's what it looks like on the web. I also have a cross-platform mobile application written in React Native. Before Slope Ninja, I would have to cruise through at least a few apps, websites, before I could gather all the information I need to plan a safe and enjoyable snowboarding trip. Now, I can find everything in just one interface. Even better, if I feel like I need a new feature, I can just build it myself. It's very, very empowering if you think about it. I believe everyone should learn how to code. It gives one a completely different perspective of how to approach things. Slope Ninja, it's only available for Tahoe resorts today, but I'm hoping to expand it to ski resorts across the country, and maybe even add a few other countries to the list with help of the open source community. When you're starting from scratch, it takes focus, commitment, and dedication to cruise through and learn as much knowledge as possible. So I had to work really hard. My biggest challenge was breaking down extremely high-level technical jargon into English, user-friendly terms to effectively understand each topic. All in all, building a product from scratch gave me an opportunity to develop across different tech stacks, including design, front-end, back-end, and mobile. With all the stuff I was learning, I felt so empowered to raise my ambitions and career goals. I have now built an app from scratch. Who would have guessed? Something I was super proud of. I really wanted to go out there and show it off, share with others. But how? How do I do this? I've been using localhost during development. Do I just zip it up and send it over to a remote host? Or I've been using npm build to build it. Do I just npm deploy this thing? There begins my Googling, all when I thought I was actually done. Slope Ninja is a traditional web application with a REST API, so it has pretty basic requirements. I have a single-page React app on the front end. It's not in Next.js yet, but I'm considering to port it. A Node.js API server corresponding to front-end requests, and workers that handle parsing of data across different resorts, government road condition data, and a few other workers taking care of sending out notifications, newsletters, etc. I'd also like to keep my costs very low. Ideally, I need something that will allow me to host Slope Ninja and a couple other projects without breaking the bank. Of course, the most natural place to look was AWS. That's where you read about and hear about in the news and where most startups host their websites. But look at all those services. It feels more like technical jargon as a service than anything else. There's no way I could learn all that in a reasonable amount of time and share my work with others. It feels too enterprisey for someone just getting started. If you simply want to deploy a side project without having to study networking and infrastructure, AWS is the wrong choice. I mean, someone even made a guide called AWS in Plain English, where they explain what each AWS service does in English. I want to focus on building Slope Ninja, so it was definitely time to look somewhere else. The next thing I looked at was Heroku. With Heroku, I did not need to worry about servers, load balancers, networking, restarting my website on a crash, or other web infrastructure I would have to manage on AWS. Of course, it came with its own technical jargon. Dynos, product files, build packs. So to deploy a Hello World app bootstrapped by Create React app, I would have to either build my own or use a third-party build pack. That was hundreds of lines of bash code. For someone just getting started, again, this felt like an unnecessary amount of effort. It took a few days, but I did finally deploy Slope Ninja to Heroku. It was not a complete deployment. For example, Heroku did not have support for root domains unless I used a DNS provider that supported it. And to make it even worse, my Heroku bill was much, much higher than I anticipated because how Heroku scheduler spins up a new dyno for each worker, and there had to be something better. Then I discovered a blog post by Zeit. Our goal is to make our service so easy and intuitive that it works just as well for experienced developers in enterprise contexts as for those just picking up the language. I'm going to be honest. After days of looking for something that's more suitable for someone like me who is just picking up the language, this was too good to be true. So I had to see it for myself. So here I was, between installing the Zeit Now CLI and having my app deployed to production, staring at my screen and in amazement and going, wow, this is so cool. And of course, I had to take my excitement to Twitter. This is how I deploy my app today. I call it jargon-free deployment. Now CLI is the only tool I need for an end-to-end deployment. I can even use it to register a new domain name. I like the idea of immutable builds. It makes deployment less scary. I think it's very obvious now what Create React App did to React development. It's what Zeit is doing to app deployment. Zeit also has a FreeDNS offering, which means I don't have to worry about hacks around mapping my root domain. Again, when this is your first time launching a web app, this is a dream come true. The Now CLI is open source, and it also allows you to deploy your apps to AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, Kubernetes by unifying them under one simpler interface. Again, I don't think I'll need these features for my projects, but it's very convenient to know that I can if I wanted to. And this convenience had to come at a cost, right? Actually, no. Hosting Slope Ninja on Zeit saves me a whole bunch of money. Who wouldn't want that? A tiny speed bump. Now it doesn't have a task scheduler yet, so I have a dedicated instance running my cron jobs for me. Currently, they are running in a single process, but in the future, I'm planning to run them in parallel by spinning up a new instance for each task using the Now API. So, migrating Slope Ninja to Zeit has been shockingly easy. It was so easy, I have since migrated all of my other projects to Zeit. Jargon, it's not beginner-friendly. Please shy away from jargon in your products. And finally, I would not be calling myself a software developer today if it wasn't for all of you in the JavaScript community who generously shared your knowledge. So thank you. And thanks for listening.